Welcome to the Bulldogs Coaches Show, featuring Howe, Athletic Director and Head Coach, Zack Hudson. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Joe Brown for Grayson County District Attorney. All right, Coach, congratulations on the big, huge win last week. Down 27-0 at one point. What was going through your head as they stripped the ball away and ran it back 95 yards to go up 27-0?
Well, we all, as coaches, knew we would be okay. We were moving the football on offense. And when that's happening, you always feel, a sense of that you don't have that sense of urgency yet. When you struggle to move the ball on offense, there is a sense of urgency. But defensively, we were struggling a little bit just due to the fact of the speed. They had two kids that were faster than any two receivers we've seen all year other than Pottsboro. So it's been it had been 5 weeks since they've seen that type of speed on the outside. And I knew we would adjust. I just was hoping it wouldn't take as long as it did. But, we give them a short field. We've never statistically been very good when we give teams short fields, and we statistically been very good when we had a short field. So, it's one of those things that, we look at and, we just had to make sure we weren't in a bad situation.
What was the turning point? You fight your way back, but at some point there had to be that moment of, hey, we're done with this and let's move on. What was that turning point?
Well, I credit the offense and, what they did. They got the ball back and went right down and scored, I think, in about 1:50. And we were moving the ball. We knew we could move the ball. We knew we were going to give up some points the other night just due to the fact of their athleticism. And their quarterback was very good, and they had a really good receiver. So we didn't think it would come to where we had to outscore them. But, you can figure a good team's going to score a touchdown or two during the game. So, when they rattle off 27, it's a little different. But, our kids were moving the football. We did make 2 stops in the middle of all that. It just the punts got muffed. And, it's not that we weren't playing good. It was just little errors that led into a big scenario for them. And we knew we'd get it fixed. The kids that were making the errors, they weren't. It was just one of those nights. And so we knew the kids would fix that part of it. And once we fixed that part of it, it was fine. But there was no real big turning point. We just had to, make sure the kids did not freak out. And I was proud of our coaches to make sure, we didn't go scrambling and go doing things that we don't do. Just to try to make something happen. We stuck to our game plan, stuck to what we did, and the kids stuck with it, and that calms those kids down and lets them have some confidence in what we do.
Now, most time at halftime, it's more about making adjustments than big movie speeches and things like that. But a lot of people have asked me and want to ask you, was there any kind of a halftime speech or motivational speech at halftime for those kids?
There's always a speech, whatever that might be. It's different for every game. Again, it was a little more calming, and then right before we go out, you try to get them up again just because their bodies and minds had rested for a little bit. But, we get out of the locker room with 8-9 minutes all the time. If we make adjustments, we know what adjustments we're going to make the minute we walk in there. So, we made our adjustments, and our kids did a good job of taking them and applying them on the field. And, it was just one of those nights that we just had to overcome a little bit, but we didn't freak out. And, the coolest part was, I didn't feel like anybody in that stadium had a doubt of what was about to happen. And that's a good feeling. We've all been around places and been on sidelines that you knew what was going to happen, and it was not a good thing. And you never felt that at all. You always felt we were in the ball game, and they wasn't going to get too far out of hand for us, and we were going to be able to score enough points to win and get enough stops to win. So it was a good feeling.
What does that say about the character of your kids? Not only did they have to fight back to regain the lead, but then they had to regain the lead the second time. And there was no letdown even when things went bad the second time. Talk about that.
Well, you try to prepare them, especially at halftime. You're still down 2 scores. You try to let them know what it's going to take to win. You're going to have to go out there and score the first drive. You're going to set the tone. But you also tell them that they're a good offense, but we can't allow more than 1 score. If we allow more than 1 score, we're going to struggle to win the football game, and because that's a 21-point swing. And they're a good football team, so they have to understand that sometimes people will score, and you hope they don't, but if they do, you have to have a plan, and the kids have to have enough calming about them to know that next time we come out, we just can't allow this again, and they did exactly what we all asked them to do, and it went, if you take away the first quarter, it went just about how we thought it would go. If you just have to take away the first quarter.
Let's take a quick time out and let Grayson County District Attorney Joe Brown tell you about his up-and-coming campaign.
It's a great place to live, and it's a place I want to make better. We have a theater here, we have a symphony, we have all of the amenities that make this a great place to live. How do we continue to progress as a community while still holding on to those conservative values that we grew up with? And it's a question that I ask myself. After 15 years in office, it's not just a job. It can't be. Megan and I have decided to raise our kids here. We're invested in this community. When I think about my older daughter playing sports, my younger daughter in theater, and think about what their life will be, I want them to have the same great experiences that I did growing up. And I want them to know that their dad did everything that he possibly could to keep this community safe, to make it a great place to grow up. Grayson County is growing. There's no way to deny that. And with that comes the opportunity for progress. Together, we can make sure it's the kind of progress that a community as great as ours deserves.
Coach, you've won 6 in a row, an emotional win. Is there a fear of letdown?
Not on this one. It kind of brought us all back to reality a little bit, and know that we're not invincible. We're not just going to walk out there and beat people. So I don't think there's going to be a letdown. As emotional, I think, as it was for people in the stands, it wasn't as emotional for the guys on the field and the coaches, because we had a belief, and we knew it's harder to see in the bleachers when you're not on the field and you're not with these kids and know what we can do every play and things like that. But we knew we were going to come back, and we really did. And so as emotional as it was in the bleachers, and as much as everybody was wore out in the bleachers, it was another game, and we should have handled the game better in the first quarter, but that didn't work out. But we won the next 3, and you win 3 out of 4 quarters, you usually win. So, it wasn't as emotional as it might think or seem, but it kind of made us want to start grinding some more and get better. So that's a good thing.
West Rusk, they are 10-1, just as you, and live off the big play. You have a young defense. Does that play into to your mind at all about the big play with those young kids on defense?
We make adjustments to try to stop big plays, and we did it against Leonard. They kind of live off a big play, and we stopped it. Again, people like Leonard, people like West Rusk they have enough athletes. They're going to score some points here and there, but you have to stop the big play, and you have to make them earn it. And so, saying that, we're going to do some things to try to prevent that. But our kids have to do what they're comfortable doing. If we try to get them out of their comfort zone, we're going to have a long night. So, we're going to run and we're going to strike you. And that's what our kids do. That's what they believe in. That's what they're good at. So, saying that, it's just going to be one of those games we got to, every week we got to get better. And the opponents are getting better every week. And so we're going to have to step up and, get some key stops early and try to take over the game a little earlier than we did last week.
Let's give you the scenario of athleticism, and let's put West Rusk in a room with all their athletes, and let's put the Howe Bulldogs in a room with all of their athletes. Put them all together, and let's take a coach from another school who's never seen anybody play, and let those coaches just pick players by athleticism and by what they look like they could do. How many Howe Bulldogs would get picked out of that group?
It's probably 3. Most teams we play have better athletes than us if you want to line us up and run 100. Most of them have bigger kids than we do. We have a couple of bigger ones, but after the, Matt and Austin, you take them out of the equation, our offensive line averages probably, even with Clay in there, it probably averages 185 pounds. And so, we're not very big, but you can't replace Hart. You can't replace a belief system. You can't replace any of that. And the kids think they can win. And you're never going to win a game if you don't think you can win it. And they think they can win. They know they can win. And they have the tool set. And I think we're doing what these kids are good at. And too many times you find in high schools that people tend to not do what their kids are good at. And I think we've found that combination with this group of kids. And it's just this particular group. It could change next year. It could change in 5 years, whatever it might be. But this particular group is very good at doing what we're doing. And it's a philosophy. It's a mindset. It's everything. And you can't replace that. And when somebody smaller than you comes up and hits you for 4 straight quarters, you get pretty tired of it real quick. And that's what we see happening week in, week out. By the middle of the third quarter, their best kids are wanting off the field because they're tired of getting hit. And when those things happen, you kind of smile and you believe in these kids because they're making those things happen.
Howe has never won 11 games in a season, and you can do that on Friday night. What does it take to beat West Rusk and get that 11th win?
I've said for a while now, we got to control the ball and win the field position battle. Statistics, of course, again show how much better we are when we, can win that field position battle. But we're gonna, like you said, not allow big plays. We're gonna have to make them earn it. They're a team that didn't make the playoffs last year, and then this year they're 10-1, and we have to try to let them relive what they did before. I guess you could say, I have no idea what they were like last year. I didn't see them last year, but you want to try to make them fall back a little bit, and the only way to do that is to take over early, and we can't be spotting people 27 points in the playoffs. I mean, it's not a good thing to happen because, like I said, teams are getting better, but they're 10-1 for a reason, and they play a tough district, very tough district, and anytime you grab somebody in East Texas, that they have a great combination of big linemen and some speed in the backfield. So, but again, what we do is a little bit different than what everybody else does also. So it'll be a good game. It really will. And we have to play our game, and we have to make sure, they don't get some big plays and get momentum going. I think high school football is about 60% momentum. And when you believe you can and you're in a game and momentum's going your way, it's easier to win that way. And so you can't allow momentum to get turned on you. And we have to keep the score close at halftime and be able to turn around and dominate the third and fourth quarter, which is that's our game. It's a Hughes Springs made over. You stay close to half and then you dominate the third and fourth quarter. And so that's what we look at and make sure we try to make happen. And of course, if you can dominate 4 quarters and be up by 21 points at halftime, it's always a good thing. But that's where we sit. That's our thing. That's what we rely on, and we rely on our kids playing 4 quarters because they have to. And they have no other choice. They have to play 4 quarters. And so it's fun to watch. I'm proud of them, and we got to keep going.
This has been the Bulldogs Coaches Show featuring Howe Athletic Director and Head Coach Zack Hudson. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Joe Brown for Grayson County District Attorney.